Hey there, welcome to this week's midweek market analysis. So as usual, we'll get started by looking at the dollar index over here. Now, if you look at this chart at this moment, what we are seeing is that the price is currently testing the previous low, somewhere around 109.55. So as of now, we're going to maintain a pretty neutral perspective, and we want to see how the market is going to develop and react around this recent low point. Now, one thing you also want to take note is that tomorrow we do have the CPI year on year coming in. So that would definitely create some kind of volatility in the dollar depending on the actual data release. So my suggestion over here is to keep track of that. Now, given if, let's say, building into tomorrow, we kind of see a little bit of a corrective pattern on the dollar index, then we can look for a potential breakout trade. If, let's say, the data comes out and the dollar weakens, this is a very decent breakout trade because we are trading the breakout of this double bottom as well as the flag formation over here, which might open up more downside. Alternatively, if you don't really see a flag setup, but if, let's say, market just continues to drop but in a very slow fashion, developing something like that, you might want to then look for a potential reversal trade. Same thing over here, you look out for the breakout to the upside instead. Okay, so I think right now we're kind of in a what we call an inflection point, and really depends on moving forward closer to tomorrow in terms of the event, how the market is developing. Okay, inversely over here we have the euro dollar. So kind of similar perspective. The market is kind of retesting the previous high around 1.0090. So same thing here, if you kind of get a nice decent consolidation by tomorrow's CPI data, look for the breakout to the upside. And of course, alternatively, if this kind of do a little bit of a crawl pattern, then you want to look for the reversal trade to the downside. Okay, so this is kind of a little bit of a news trading where you would probably use a breakout strategy to get involved in the trade. Okay. And then we have the pound dollar. Pound dollar right now, I'm maintaining also a pretty neutral perspective. We did have a little bit of a V shape, and right now we want to give a bit more time and see how the market is going to develop here. If this is going to pull back, then short term we might still see one more push to retest the previous high. Alternatively, what can turn and be developed is that this can still go up and complete the crawl pattern, and will then look for itself. Okay, so I think pound dollar, euro dollar curve is at the area in which we want to be patient, give it more time and see how the market develops first. Okay, Aussie dollar, we have the very first push up. Okay, very decent impulsive move. Short-term wise, this is still bullish. We are expecting a bit of a pullback. Okay, ideally this is going to take a little bit more time to give us a corrective structure. If that's the case, then we have one more opportunity to look for the buy, to ride the final wave up to complete the bigger 1, 2, 3. And from there, this also completes the overall channel structure. And then at this top here is where we're going to look for a potential reversal trade. Okay, so I think Aussie dollar would be definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Maybe this setup might not come by this week. Perhaps if the market were to really develop in a slow fashion, in a corrective manner downside, maybe we might see it maybe next Monday or Tuesday, but you want to definitely keep an eye on that. And then we have the dollar Canadian, right? So dollar Canadian, we have this head and shoulder pattern. The market broke the neckline yesterday, but I'm a little bit careful right now because this breakout doesn't really look very impulsive. So I'm expecting a bit of a retracement pullback first, perhaps towards that trade 250% for a decent sell opportunity. Okay, so again, we have a major dollar related news coming in tomorrow, right? So my suggestion is, for now, just monitor some of this pair here. If you're more conservative, wait for the news to be released, come back onto the chart, see if you can see the pattern clearly, then look for that setup. Okay, if you're more aggressive, then of course you can focus on euro dollar for the potential news trading technique, right, which we talked about just now based on the breakout technique. And then we have the dollar yen. Dollar yen is retesting the bottom as of now. There is quite a lot of different possibility of how this can eventually turn out to be. My suggestion is, if you do not have a sell trade running at this moment, then just be patient. Okay, because again, this can easily get rejected to the upside to kind of form a bigger corrective pattern before that drop. If you have a sell trade running following this running flat here, that time we talk about that breakout, if you have a sell trade running as of now, my suggestion is to manage that accordingly. Okay, you might want to consider maybe take partial profits or even shift your stops to protect whatever profits you have, and then see if this were to continue going down, or we're going to see a rejection back first, and then only we look for another setup to sell. Okay, so overall, I'm still bearish on the dollar yen. I think the question is just more of like, are we getting that drop now in the near term, or are we going to get that drop maybe perhaps after another pushback up? Okay, so something to monitor as well. And then we have gold. So gold actually did a very impulsive move yesterday. Okay, I don't think it's something that is surprising, because overall direction we have been looking for bullish side, especially since the market came back and retest the bottom here and unable to break it. We kind of have a triple bottom. So as of now, I'm still holding a bullish bias. If you have any buy trade, obviously you just want to manage it accordingly. I think the upside potential is still huge. There's a lot of room in which gold can still rally. So you don't want to cut yourself short. You just want to manage your position accordingly, but don't have what we call a hard take profit. You might want to have like partial profits and etc., but leave at least some position running, because if this really were to take off to the upside, you want to ride it as far as possible. Now, if you don't have any trade right now, then my suggestion is to be patient and see if this forms a little bit of a pullback that looks something like that right over here. Then that would be another buy opportunity for you, whether you're looking for a retracement or you look for the breakout, whatever that suits your strategy. Okay, so gold here is quite clear. The direction is definitely to the upside. Right, and then we have crude oil. Crude oil also really reacted very nicely at the top around 94. Okay, which is something that we anticipated the buy to hit that level, and then we mentioned this would then potentially turn into a double top, and right now this is coming down very nicely too. Now price is already reaching near the bottom of this trend line plus a little bit of the 50% FIB. So my suggestion is, if you don't have any position on crude oil, just stay out for now. Give it maybe another 1 or 2 days and see how the market is going to react around this trend line. Now if you can get a little bit of a V-shaped bounce, then of course any consolidation would open up a buy setup for you. If let's say the market were to break down below this trend line impulsively and does a little bit of a pullback that looks something like this, this will open up more downside. Right, so give it some time and see how the market is going to develop from here first. Then lastly here we have the S&P. We had a breakdown, and then recently it did a retracement back to 618. This retracement is not really clear. It does carry a little bit of a corrective nature, but the pullback is a little bit fast to me. Therefore, overall, I'm still expecting one more drop to give us that 1, 2, 3, but I'll be just very careful and cautious of any sell. Okay, so ideally, if I'm cautious on that, I would want to give it some time, see if I can get a mini pulse down, a little flag here, then that would be a better entry, because this would give me that confirmation that 618 is indeed that rejection level. Okay, so I think this week here, because we have a major dollar news coming up, so the focus is definitely on that in terms of the CPI data. Okay, one of the clearest opportunity to trade the news is definitely on the euro dollar side of things. The rest of the major pairs, there are some opportunities here and there, but perhaps if you're conservative, give it some time, be patient, wait for a clear setup. So all the best to your trading. That's all for me from this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.